Alright, hi everyone. We're going to be taking a look at some reporting features in Atrium. Hopefully you'll be able to use the information from this screencast to help guide you through some of the exercises that are attached to this assignment. So let's go ahead and get started. I am simply going to pull up my database. So here we go. Oops, that's not the whole thing. Here we go. Since we're working with reports, I am going to open the Reports tab, and just at first glance when those pop open, you can see that there are several different types of reports here. Now, they are listed in alphabetical order, but there are different types here. For instance, we have some patron reports. We have some materials reports, such as list of titles and shelf list. We also have some circulation and statistical reports that you see down here toward the bottom. So there are lots of different things that you can build from this reports menu. For our first practice, we are going to start with a patron list report. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to pull this over just so I can see it better. When we see the initial screen here, you will probably notice that there are already lots of customizable fields that you can tackle here. Since this is a patron report, most of the things on here are dealing with patrons. You could run a report by a patron's name. If you needed information about one student, you could put that patron's name in here, and that will give you a specific report about one specific person. You can do the same thing in this second field for patron barcode. If you happen to know a patron's barcode number, you could plug it in there and you will get a report for that one specific barcode. Under that, we see some options for patron circulation class. We know that circulation classes are our groups or types of patrons, and every school has a different format. At this school, we can see that we have students in grades 1 through 5 are all together. We have pre-K and kindergarten together. We have staff and parents together, and so on and so forth. If I wanted to run a report that only targeted one of these patron types, I could set that here. For instance, I could put in grades 1 through 5. I'm going to take that back out so we can move on. The next group that we can customize is our patron report class, and we know that in school libraries that translates to a teacher homeroom. So when I open up patron report class, I have all the different homerooms or even unassigned and withdrawn that I can choose from. So if I just want the information that pertains to one particular class, I could choose that teacher's name, and then the report that I run will only pull up the students that are in this patron report class. Go and reset that. Underneath, we have some additional filters we can place on these students. Maybe we just want our report to include the students who owe fines, and if that's the case, I can check that box. I could also run a report for my patrons who have reserves, so I can do that, and I can choose multiple refinements here. I may want to know about all of my patrons who have reserves, but who also have items overdue. I can select multiple things here. I could run a report based on students who have a specific due date range, and I could set that here. And so you can see there are a lot of options, but there are even more options up here in the Columns tab. And we're going to stop right here for a second and kind of put an analogy on what columns means in Atrium. Setting columns in Atrium is kind of like building a pizza. And what I mean by that is that you have lots of different choices. You can arrange things in a certain way, and you can make it fit exactly what you're looking for, just like a pizza does. We know everybody's particular about the way they like their pizza. Some like very few ingredients, some like a lot, some like the basics, some like for every single piece to be different. And in our reports, we have options similar to these as well. We can run a very simple report. We can run a very complex report. We can run a general report that's already kind of set up for us, or we can add lots of different things to our reports. So you might hear me talk about the different columns and the different options in those columns. You might hear me talk about them and call them ingredients. Well, that's kind of because I'm stuck on this pizza analogy.